Hello, welcome to Matching Mom Genes, where identical twins explore divergent paths of motherhood born from the same roots. Join us as we navigate this crazy world of parenting, proving that even with identical DNA, our journeys are still unique. Get ready for laughs, insights, and a double dose of maternal mayhem.
You're back.
I am back.
You're also just melting.
Oh, it is.
How's that heat wave in Europe happening?
It's so hot, and not in like the hot girl summer kind of way, in the like, I don't remember what it's like to not be sweaty way.
Oh yeah, that's exciting because you guys don't have air conditioning or fans or anything.
Well, here's the thing about heat waves in Europe. The houses and buildings in general in Europe are just pretty substantial. And that is to mean thick, insulated, like houses. They have stood the test of time. If your house is still standing in Germany after World War II, for example, or built by
Valid.
people who grew up in a house that survived World War II, because my house was definitely not built prior to any sort of bomb situation. Although, there's that. But, it's so hard to keep a train of thought when you're hot. But the houses are super well insulated. And you would think, like, Shelby, that doesn't make any sense. That would mean that the heat doesn't get to you, right? Yes and no. If it's one hot day and then we get a rainstorm and it's been relatively cool in like the evenings beforehand and stuff like that, sure, yeah, your house is fine. Your house is fine. If you have been a wrapped baked potato in foil, slow cooking in the crock pot that is your concrete sturdy house for the last month, 3 weeks or so, I'm like the tiny little onion stuck to the side of the crock pot that you're like, how did you even get up there? The liquid never even got that high. Why are you roasted? Like, that's me right now.
Trying to get out of the liquid.
And it's just like, because that's the key. Like, we have a couple standing fans. So like, if it's blowing directly on you, yeah, you're not going to be able to breathe when you wake up in the morning because you don't have any nasal passages anymore, which I've got a whole story about that too.
You're just done.
But you could probably sleep, But what gets you is that like we have two standalone stick the exhaust hose out the window air conditioners. You can't see this if you're listening to this podcast, but I'm doing so many air quotes around air conditioner because it's not really, it's conditioning some of the air. It's conditioning like 1/20th of the amount of air in your room. Like,
is it similar to a swamp cooler like they use in like New Orleans, where like you don't necessarily like, it's just kind of pulling the moisture out of the air to kind of like crisp it up a little bit to make it cooler, but not
probably pretty similar because it's like a dehumidifier, but it also like does cool some of the air, and it's like super cooled air blowing into a room of hot air. But here's the problem. Like, it can run all day and your house never get below 83, which is what my thermometer says right now.
Oh, lordy lord.
Because there's no cooling of the walls and the floor. Like, my walls are warm.
Oh.
Not my windows, my walls are warm.
Your house is
you step out of your cool shower and the bathroom floor is warm. Now, granted, during the winter, we do have heated floors on the base level. It's great. We really appreciate that. Somebody please earmark this podcast and send it back to me when I'm complaining about how cold it is this winter. But it's just a little crock potty right now. And it's hard. Like, we don't have a low this week that drops below like 74, 75.
Wow.
So like, you can't even, because in most of the summer, up until the last 2.5-ish weeks, I'm going to say 3 weeks conservatively because I can't remember the last time it rained. Which is saying something because I live in Germany where it rains all the time. Um, but I can't remember the last time it rained. And um, most of the summer, I'm going to talking June and July before we got to August, which is just really hot. Um, it would get quite warm during the day, but then at night it was still like high 50s, low 60s. So you'd get up in the morning and we'd have like the windows open on the house, like the third floor and the first floor. And so you'd get up in the morning and you leave your room, and your room's a bit stuffy because we got the windows closed. We live close to a road, like, whatever. Um, the light bothers me, not my husband, but the sound bothers him. So we just keep the window closed when we sleep. But then you'd like open the door and you'd go downstairs, and as you're going down the stairs, you're like, wow, it's a little chilly. I should have grabbed like a shawl or a robe or something like to come to let the dog outside. And you'd go to let the dog outside and you're like, yeah, it's a little brisk this morning. Man, I wonder what I need to wear for the day. And then you'd check and you'd be like, probably a dress or shorts because it's going to be 83. It just happens to
Yeah.
be 57 right now. Like, it
Well,
was so
that makes
weird.
me that two things. One, it makes me feel like what happened when we moved to the mountains, because like the mountains have that to where it's like you have enough elevation where the it can get a little brisker at night almost. But
Yeah.
the other question I have for you, Miss Environmental Engineer, is do you think that this is why Europeans take global warming more seriously? Because their whole country is roasting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel
Every
like
time we have the hottest, last year we moved here end of August, so we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary. And then the September was the hottest September on record. And like weather forecasters on the news were like upset about it because they were going to have to redo their like colors on their maps to add like a new range in the top.
wow.
Because it's like we can't reach the, and so I do think that if you're not able to bend your comfort level, you might take catastrophe a little bit more seriously.
Right. Well, and I think that like
No running
America,
from it.
I was talking about this with someone the other day about how like we as Americans do not have a good grasp of the way the rest of the world lives, because like we just like our air conditioner broke during our like kitchen fix thing that went down, and like my husband called my mother-in-law and like she got us a window unit, and it was like ta-da. And it's like that's not a readily available fix for most humans. Like that's not a
No, and
thing
it's like
that can happen.
shockingly expensive to even run like our fans and stuff because the electricity in Europe is so high. And so,
As it probably should be, because it's an important commodity that we just kind of like whatever. I mean, like
well, yeah,
there's something to be said for the rest of the world calling America flippant about resources. But
yeah,
to distract you from your giant pile of melted heat, I I wanted to kind of
the
have a little bit of
lava.
fun today. The lava, the floor is lava, quite
It feels like it.
literally.
My poor dog. He likes to lay on a cool floor, and he can't decide if any of the floors are actually
He
cool.
can't find a cool floor.
He just gets up and basically rotates through all the
Oh,
different types of flooring.
it's the like perpetual flipping the
We're
pillow
getting him a
over.
cooling mat. It's fine.
Oh, what cool! My neighbor did that when she stole my cat. She got her she got her cooling mat. um. So, anyways, I wanted to poke your brain about so mom friends, and this is like something you and I have talked about consistently for the last several years, but also just like you'd never. Every time I watch a movie, it brings up the exact same question, which is, how do these people stay friends? And like, how do you because I have friends that I've known since I was 7, 8 years old. I have you who I've known since I was -9 months. Um, like, but then you have people where you're like suddenly your child has started a new library story time, and now you have to know these people and you have to see them every week. And you don't really know what
Oh,
you're supposed to talk about.
there's the like what is the number of levels of Dante's Inferno or whatever? There's different levels of mom friendship too, I feel
See?
like.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was thinking of it more like the rings of a tree, like concentric
I mean, that works
circle.
too, but that's not really how
Because
we get there.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, and so, like, I do have some kind of funny questions for you, but I was kind of trying to sort my friends. And this is something that I do because I'm bored. Not that I have enough time to be bored, but sometimes my brain is still bored, even when it's supposed to be doing other things. So, this was
Yeah.
my fun little distraction for myself. And I was
We
trying to
all have
sort
a
all
touch
of
of
my friends.
the neuroatypicalness. What is it called?
Yeah, right.
Neurodivergence.
Neuroatypicalness is a great phrase. We'll just use that.
Neuroatypicalness. But you know what I mean? Just occasionally we just go down this rabbit hole.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. And I was having a lot of fun with it. Well, to be fair, I was like waiting outside the courtroom to like do my business, and you can't really have your phones or anything, and so I was just like there with a notebook, and I was like,
drawing
"What
Venn
can I make a
diagrams of your
list of?"
friends.
Yeah, so then I was trying to sort them, and tell me if I'm missing any categories, because you have like you're like long distance, but like usually longer term friendships. So like you may not live in the same place, but you know each other. There's a strong bond. And then you kind of have your like, I call them like in the trenches friends. And those are the people that you can call and be like, hey, will you go to Sam's with me so I don't have to go by myself because my toddler is trying to murder me?
Okay, I don't like your description. So we're going to go back to the first one. Okay, so we've got committed um committed long-term contractual friends.
Okay.
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 So like that
Contractual.
we're talking about like the well we're talking about there's like a almost legal binding
Yes.
relationship there. You know what I mean?
I
Like
would agree with that. I have a couple of
sister-in-law,
those.
bridesmaid in your wedding,
Got
um
it. Okay. There's a deep link
survived
there.
that one really crazy workplace. You know what I mean?
My
Like
son's godmother.
we
Yeah.
could share
Okay.
a therapist kind of vibes. So if we're talking about like semi-contractual committed friendships.
Got it.
Then
Okay.
what you're talking about next, like in the trenches, those are the zombie apocalypse allies.
Yes. See,
So
okay.
continue on. I'm following you.
Well, so then you have like your next one, which was I was gonna call like your like we're stuck together in this location, which I realize is what the young and hip call situationships.
No. That's teammates on the roster.
Teammates on the roster.
Yeah. Some of them are starters, and some of them are just on the roster. You just text them to see whether or not everybody in the class can have cupcakes or not. They're just on the roster.
Okay, yeah, so that's valid. Those are the ones that like you can sit and laugh
They're the
about your
is it
children.
crazy hat or sock day, friends?
Yes. Is it, is this the new gymnastics teacher forever, or do we just have to play nice this one day?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay. And then you have what I would consider the most unfortunate circle, which is your child's chosen friends' parents, who you get no say in the matter.
See, okay, and here's where it gets very specific. Okay. This is childhood friend wedding party friend. So this
Ooh.
is that group of people that you get set together at that one wedding where you
Oh
don't know a lot of
yeah.
people because you're good friends,
You're the
but
friend
the
from
person
college
you're
or
a
the
good
friend
friend
from
with
work.
is like vowing their life to somebody else. So you don't
Yes.
know anybody else at this wedding. You are
Nobody is
just stuck at this table with maybe your plus one, like maybe your friend, maybe your kid's there,
not
maybe
if you're a
your husband's
bridesmaid.
there, but not if you're a bridesmaid. This is like childhood friends wedding reception
Oh man,
friend.
I feel that in my soul.
I feel like I should have
I
written
get
these
close.
down because now we're going to try to reference them and I'm not going to remember what they are the rest of the episode. But like, yeah,
Totally fine.
okay.
So am I missing anyone? Because I don't think so. Like you have your like unfortunates that you don't really even want to be friends with. You
I
have
think
your
there's
like,
some overlap in the categories. Like, I think we need
oh
to be
well,
clear
yes.
that it's a
People can be
spectrum.
sorted. Yeah, people can be sorted. It's kind of one of those, where it's like
They're more like Girl
your
Scout badges than they are like identities.
girls.
Like, you've earned the zombie apocalypse badge. I will call you for the next crisis, next 3 crises potentially, and you may or may not lose this badge
Yeah,
through your
you can have
reactions.
you can have your badge revoked. I will agree with that. Don't lose this badge, man. You will. So the reason that I'm so excited that you made these distinctions is because I have been attempting, and this I'm just going to put this loosely with an asterisk down at the end, because anybody who is my friend right now knows that I have not been using my phone correctly. It's not, I haven't checked on anyone. I don't know where anyone is. I basically only talk to you once a week. And the rest of the time I'm just head down trying to live.
Yeah,
But I
it's
downloaded.
August, aren't we all?
Exactly. I mean, it's August, and Taylor Swift wrote a song about it that's pretty sad because August slipped away like a moment in time, and it was never
Not
mine.
slipping away fast enough. Take the heat with it.
Exactly.
Just kidding. I
So,
would
but
never wish time away. Superstitious about
mm,
that.
okay, well, you can be superstitious about it.
I
I'll
have
say
a
we're
super
fine.
sour patchy kid right now. First she's sour, then she's sweet.
Oh
Sometimes she's
no.
funny though. So I'm trying not to wish it away. Literally, I wrote this down for you. Okay, I wrote down. Then we'll go to your whatever you're about to do with your phone. But I don't know how much your phone's about to happen anyway. So here I wrote down our exchange at bedtime tonight for you after she fell asleep. Okay,
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me.
quotes. Mama, you're my best friend.
Aw.
Insert the heart eyes because like yes. And so I said, "Oh, darling, I love you so much." Seconds later, Mama, and I said, "Yeah, darling." She said, "I have a booger. It was in my nose."
Wait, it was as in past
It,
tense because that
it
could
was because now it's in her hand. She's
Oh,
trying to show me in the pitch black dark. And I said, "That's nice. Good
that's
night."
good night.
So, you know,
I love that
that's
age.
nice.
That's fun. It's
It's
a lot
a
of
it's an age, that's for sure. It's an age.
the meme that most describes my life right now are the people who, and I don't agree with online bullying, but in this particular situation, this person was failed by a lot of others, so thus I can laugh at it. The Olympic breakdancer from Australia who
Oh,
unfortunately was very failed by everyone around her, in my opinion, and by the Olympic Committee, whatever. Anyways, I'm not even laughing about her choices. I'm laughing about the fact that there is a meme now of her dancing in which people say, when your child says for the 47th time, "Look, mom," because
look what I
that's
can
my
do.
life. That's
Watch,
my
mom,
life right
watch.
now.
Oh, we're
And
in that phase
also,
too.
I wish that we, like I wish that sometimes that I could share things on the internet that I can't always because I want to protect my children's privacy. But just so you know, I have a video of my then 4-year old, four, maybe almost five, no, four, um, 4-year old stepson doing that exact choreography. The exact, I mean, it was stolen from him. We should probably sue on his behalf.
That's so amazing.
We have the same video, and in the background of that video, Rory is there and laughing. And I just really need everyone to know that Rory will testify in court that that my stepson was the person who designed this routine.
Yep.
So
Add
everybody,
choreographer to his resume.
it
That's
was, you know,
so funny.
it's so real.
Well,
The
I
amount
have
of
to
times
look
that
every time I hear Mama watch this because it's always a jump
oh, okay, yeah,
from
you have
where
to
to
supervise
where.
that.
It's always more like it comes closer to meaning catch me than it does watch
Mama,
me.
look. My favorite thing is that in Hispanic culture, or at least in my family's Hispanic culture, to get your child's attention, you say mira, which is look, like look. Um, and so you say like mira and then like the rest of the sentence. And I have noticed that my son tries it now, but he doesn't always say it correctly because he says mirror. And so I've started hearing the word mirror and looking around like what's
Mirror,
about to
mirror
happen.
on the wall.
And I'm like, this is going to be a little odd sometimes. But also, Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm worried that I don't hear look at what I can do as much as I should, because then they're quiet and I can't decide what. It's one of those things where, like, careful what you complain about, because like you'll get the other dose next week.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when left to their own devices, it's a it's a treat. But I wanted to I wanted to see if you and I would be friends on this app. So there is an app called Peanut. A lot of people know it. I don't know a single person who likes it, and I'm not saying that to like bash Peanut. I'm just saying, like, I don't know a single mom who has time to internet date their mom friends, which is
I did while I was
what they want
pregnant.
you to do. Well, see, I did it while I was pregnant too, and there were a ton of people while I was pregnant. And then I've done it before with, like, my husband's going to be at this military base for this period of time, so hey, when we come into town, do you want to do like a play date type vibe? But like the other day, I wondered if I still had a profile.
Oh
And
no.
out, I do.
People have been sending you messages and you've been ghosting them.
I've been ghosting everyone forever. But my favorite thing is that you have to go through and select different types of quote unquote what they call packs. And packs are basically what you used to put on your MySpace of how you described yourself.
Oh, I love it.
So, you start out with the basics like single, married, step parent, neighborhood newbie, LGBTQ plus, disabled, parent to twins, military. But as you scroll, you get into, you have like maternity leave, student, she, her, grandparent, all that stuff. Then you have your zodiac sign, which is an option. And then you get into what I would consider the most dangerous way to ever say this, which is interests.
Interest.
You have some of them that make sense, like bookworm or crafty. So I have those. You have foodies. I'm not necessarily a foodie. Fashion killer, Killa.
Like,
Fitness fiend. Music is medicine, strictly organic. Science savvy, wine time. I mean, like, it's like some of them are very normal. There's one that says yoga. Okay, great. Why are these the same?
right.
Why are we branding ourselves? And then, unfortunately, you have to answer the question. My friends would say I'm blank.
Oh
Spiritual
no.
gangster. Oh, which one would you
That's one of the
identify with? Okay, ready?
options?
Spiritual gangster, always on vacay, boss queen, routine queen, Dr. Google, thrifty, adrenaline junkie, sleep deprived, adventurous, outdoorsy, powered by caffeine, fluent in emoji, charitable, geek chic, homebird, urban gal, eco warrior, hot mess, or beer buddy. Which one would you like to identify yourself as?
You have to pick one of
No,
those.
so you can choose more than one, apparently, because I had Dr. Google, which is A plus in my opinion, sleep deprived, and homebird. Because let's be honest, if I don't have to leave my house, we're fine. So
There's one about routines. I like routines.
yes, so
One
routine
about always
queen.
on vacay. I do have to cancel play dates regularly that I forget that I've set up before we travel.
There you go. Always on
Um,
vacay. Routine queen. There is outdoorsy. I don't know if I remember that one. There is eco warrior. Does that count since you're an engineer? An engineer? Do you count as an
I
eco
don't
warrior?
know. I don't know. Was there one that was like that list was way too long for me to keep up. I don't know.
I
What would you think I was?
It was way too well. I just
And
have a
maybe
question about
sleep deprived.
my question is, what is a spiritual gangster? Is this a pro or a con? Like the same thing with powered by caffeine. Is this a good thing?
It's
I
a
have
good or a bad thing.
I
That's
mean,
so funny.
very seriously, what comes to mind when you hear spiritual gangster? I have a lot of questions.
Here's my thing too, though, and it's funny that we're talking about this because I literally just made a new friend a couple weeks ago.
Ooh,
They just
was it a
moved in
successful
country.
friendship development?
Um, it's been great. It's been wonderful, but it was so funny because another friend that I have here who does not have children was like, "Hey, I know of a new family who moved. They've got a daughter about your daughter's age. I have now, having met both toddlers, can go ahead and say that they're obviously going to be besties. You should get together for a play date. And I was like, wow, this is wonderful. Give her my contact information
Yeah.
because
Being set up in a
having
daycare. Sign me.
having having moved to a new country myself, there's absolutely no way that getting a text message from a random stranger, hey, do you want to hang out? I've also got a kid your age, would have actually worked on me. So I was like, just give her my contact information. And
I'm
if
even
she's
curious. I would
interested,
do it.
we could do this.
That's how
So
I get kidnapped is,
she did
hey,
contact me
oh, nice.
with
Okay.
a couple like really well thought out questions. Um,
Ooh, okay.
we
We
texted back and forth a little bit. We
like a
set up
prepared
like
queen.
so we like, but we set up like a play date, and then the play date got rained out. But it was a morning play date. One of the last few days that my daughter was off on Kita summer holiday. And so I was like, well, shoot, when else are we going to do this? And if it's raining, what do we do? And they're like, they're still in temporary housing. And so, like, obviously, I can't be like, we could go to the park. There's not a ton of indoor play spaces. And so I'm
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
don't really
Okay.
want to have a play date at the park. And so I was like, if you're up for it, you could just come over to our house and have a coffee and like the girls could play. I know that sounds really weird, but like,
You're already in another country. Might as well get
yeah, do
kidnapped.
you want to just come like hang out at my house?
You've made
And
it this
she
far.
was so chill about it. But I literally told my husband, I said, I feel like I should like send like a list of things about myself, but also just get her vibe because it's not that I care. Like, I mean, I care about a few basics, like please don't bring your unvaccinated children to my house. My child has
Valid.
already got rubella and she was vaccinated. So, like, we don't need any more eradicated diseases. We've already had one, which is a
There's a lot of
lot.
germs.
So it's
There's a
like,
lot of germs.
exactly. So I'm like, I just don't, that kind of thing. But for the most part, like, I'm chill with a lot of things.
You can do
Okay.
anything for an hour or two. Like,
Well,
it,
yeah,
it can't be
yeah,
that bad.
yeah. And so, but I just need to know. Like I am a big Taylor Swift fan, but I don't need you to be a Taylor Swift fan for us to be good friends. I just need to know whether or not you're going to say something snarky or be
Oh, yes.
aggressive about my Taylor Swift Eras Tour shirt because I just won't wear it in front of you.
Exactly. I'll avoid
But
that. Yes.
you know what I mean? Like, or like I won't let my phone CarPlay and
Right.
immediately
Although,
start torture
just
toast
turn off
department
Spotify,
if you don't
people.
want it. And so it's like it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I just need to know. And so maybe these things aren't meant to be good or bad on Peanut either, because I'm just like,
I was going to say,
I
now
just
you have a
want to know,
list.
like,
Now you have a
because we
list.
do, we are kind of, I am probably more on paper of like a picky kind of mom.
Well,
Because like I
I
do
would
stick
say
to a
that you and
routine.
I,
We don't do sugar before her afternoon nap. We don't do screen time before her afternoon nap. So I'm not a lot of fun on paper because I'm like,
that's fair.
we get outside in the mornings, but we don't do 1,000 hours outside. We don't have sugar in the mornings. We don't watch TV in the mornings. We don't. We stick. We do try to plan things around an afternoon nap if we can. She also naps on the go, but either way, like I'm not going to be hopping on a roller coaster with you at 12:35 because I'm going to be putting my child down for a nap, even if it's in the stroller.
I'm unavailable.
Like I'm unavailable, and so it's just these kinds of things. I also though am chill in some ways that other people are not chill. For example, I'm just carting around a pink potty right now. Like my child is
Yeah.
potty training and I just
Whatever,
always
dude.
have like 3 or 4 pairs of shorts. She's not wearing absorbent shoes and she has a travel potty. So
Exactly. Like, have
we
potty,
use
we'll
it where
travel.
we
We're
can
fine.
and we practice where we can. And if she has an accident, we catch it real quick and we change. And so, it just is what it is. All that to say, I am also like on paper, like on a regular basis, I'm probably not that fun. However, you have never met someone who appreciates a special theme as much as me.
I was
So if
like,
you're talking about last day of summer break donuts, that no
you can,
sugar in the morning rule is it's a
yeah, you can
holiday. Okay,
commit
it
to
might as
the
well be
bit.
Christmas.
You
Like,
can
oh,
commit to the bit.
Speaking of Christmas, we're eating Christmas cookies for breakfast. Yes, that's sugar before noon. Like, but the reason why I commit to these
Yeah,
bits
you have
and
the
can commit to
asterisk.
these bits is because we don't do it on random Tuesdays. You know what I mean? It's
That's
like
fair. I'll give you
if we
that.
wake up and it's already 95 degrees on Saturday, we're probably going to have a movie day. We're probably just going to build a fort and have a movie day. That hasn't happened yet. We have been able to get out and try to get some time in the morning, and that's been great. But like, I'm not so rigid that I can't adjust. I just would rather lean more structured and then
See,
adjust.
it's my worst nightmare to have to define myself in like an open-ended way. So I
I
do
know it's hard,
appreciate like
right?
being told a list to select because I will just avoid it. And then even if we conflict on something,
You're
I just
like,
cool, right,
suddenly, I
awesome,
agree with
great.
that.
Yeah. Well, no, like like a great example is that I did call one of my friends today and was like, "Hey, so my child is not going to be able to make it through Sam's without some form of company. So I need you to bring your child and meet me at Sam's."
Oh, I love
And
it.
and following that, I had things that I needed to get done, but also she was like, "I don't want to be by myself anymore because now my your child's crankiness is rubbing off on my child's crankiness." So we brought them both home and gave them both something to drink and sit down in front of quieter toys, and then we talked while I did dishes. And it's like I would rather have that kind of looseness to my
See,
thing, but there are other days where like I have too many things on my plate and I don't get to be loosey goosey with you. So we're just gonna pop in and pop out when we need to.
well,
So
and
like
that's why I think you
it's
have to
odd.
have all kinds of friends. Like my I think my cup is most full from like a true zombie apocalypse kind of friendship day.
That's
Like
fair.
we went to the grocery store together. We had at least one meaningful conversation. Our children played together. My child yelled, "Watch, mama," and I didn't turn around fast enough and you caught them. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, we love
that's
that. We love a good trade.
that's the days that you feel like the village has just, just right there. There's right there.
Yeah.
And I love that. But then on the other hand, you've got the richness poured into your motherhood that comes from the mothers that aren't living the same life as you.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
fair.
when I learn about like the different nuances of like what's going on with you and your kids or Kaylee and Rebecca, and they have like these completely different things. Like we had a whole conversation today about like transitioning out of the crib and what it looks like if your kid gets up in the middle of the night and how like my house is really quite filled with hazards. And so we have
Yeah.
not transitioned out yet, but like what our plan might be and how like it just looks completely different for them. And it just, I think those things are the things that help you like grow and really find perspective as a mother. But like those are not the days that get you out of those trenches if you're in it. It's the
Yeah.
people who throw both the children in the grocery store and then in the parking lot you open the bag of this happened to me on Sunday. I bought a bag of Cheetos.
I know
and
exactly where this is
and
going because I just did it today.
the whole time that we were in the grocery store, I was basically like holding this bag of Cheetos over both of these children's heads.
I'm gonna just
And so
dangle
then
it.
we stood for like 10 minutes in the parking lot after we loaded our groceries in so that they could just like pound some Cheetos as quickly as possible
Yep.
because you just got to. You just got to.
Yeah. Well, and
And
I was the reason that this even kind of came up in my brain is because I have one mom friend and she is the most like situational mom friend that I have because I do love the camaraderie of like story time or gymnastics where you're like watching your kids with their almost identical peers because like gymnastics is sorted by age and things like that. So you're like watching and you have this sense of like community and pride of like, haha, your kid did an excellent handstand. Go team. My kid can throw himself onto the ground with anger better than any other child here. Everyone is just rocking it. Your child did technically teach my child to do something incorrectly, but now they're both doing it with so much gusto. Go team.
See, I wonder how much of that I'm missing out because I don't my German is not great
Oh,
yet.
I see what you're saying with that. But see, then so Saturday I got to see what I consider my most situational mom friend, which is that she was friends with someone I know. And when I found out I was pregnant, she was 3 weeks more pregnant than me, or like 4 weeks more pregnant than me. And so our kids are like almost exactly a month apart. Um, and she lives in 2 or 3 states away. I don't know how far away is Missouri from me. Pretty far. Missouri's pretty far.
It's
And so,
not an
but
afternoon
her,
jaunt.
but her family, her husband has this thing that he does every single August in our area. And so they just come and stay. And then they like see all their friends in this area. Did you just drop a pin?
I did. I'm sorry
I
if you
liked
can
it.
hear it.
I support that. No, that's fine. But it's just like one of those things. So like my child is, 3 years old. So I've met this person 3 times.
Oh, 3 Augusts.
3 Augusts in a row. That's exactly how much I know this person. And yet on Saturday, I brought the children over, her beautiful children. She has one who's exactly my youngest age. And then she actually has another child, like younger than them, which is fascinating because I can't imagine having another baby right now. Just
So she's
absolutely.
brave. We know at least
Yeah.
one thing about her. She's brave.
Right. But also like we let the children be insane. We he giggled about how big they were compared to the photos of them last time. We let them teach each other bad habits. They raced to see who could scare us the most around the swimming pool. And then we got everyone chilled out. Everyone's eating macaroni and cheese, happy as can be. And she sits down next to me and she goes, okay, so here's the list of books I've read since I saw you last. Allow me to recommend these four. And then
I like it.
I pulled out my list and was like, here's everything I've read this last year that I recommend you read. And
I
like
love that.
my husband afterwards was like, are you guys like, do you guys like talk throughout the year? Because like I thought you really only saw her like once a year. And I was like, no, we don't. And he was like, do you like stay close on social media? And I was like, actually, no, I don't think I have her on social media. And he was like, so then how did you know she would like those books? And I was like, I don't know. We just we just connected over it, and this is what we do every year is we just trade.
If she
And now
doesn't like it, she's not going to tell me about it. So it's
exactly. Well,
fine.
and like like she's kind of like she was like, okay, so
So
I saw
wait.
like these recommended ones on TikTok, and then I was like, okay, well, I've actually read that one, and I don't know if you'd like it because here's the thing that I didn't like about it. And then she told me like four that were on my TBR that she was like, actually, if you don't want a sad ending, like if you're not emotionally there, don't do it because you're gonna cry for 17 days. And I was like, perfect, thank you.
So like I feel like in this case we do have to add an extra friend group because like I wouldn't quite consider that like on the roster.
Well, that's my question. That is my question. That is fundamentally my
That's
question of this
like
episode is like, where
but
is that person go?
that's like got to be like a summer camp.
It is a summer camp friendship. That's exactly what it is. Oh my gosh, that is exactly what it felt like.
It's a
Having
summer camp mom friend.
it's a summer camp mom friend. That's exactly correct. Thank you for that because that's been what's bothering me for the last couple of days is like I absolutely adore this person. Why don't I put more effort into this friendship? Why don't and I'm like they're not going to fit into my life.
Could
Like
you literally overlap
fundamentally
1 week a year?
yes, just like summer camp. I love this. Thank you. I knew you could solve this problem for me.
Thank you. I'm nothing if not I have nothing if not the ability to categorize.
I was about to say you can make an Excel spreadsheet out of anything.
I can. Now I really want to make a Venn diagram for our social media.
I think you should, and I
Right.
will. I I figured out how to share links in the show notes of last week, so you can see like the pictures that Ashley shared, which was such a fun episode to do. Speaking of friends who are like deep connections, who would probably be with you in the apocalypse, except they live across the country, so you're just gonna hopefully meet up randomly throughout the
But
apocalypse.
I feel like Ashley is a legally obligated
Oh yeah,
contractual
we
committed
have a
friendship.
binding contract. Yeah, we have a
Yeah,
binding
yeah.
contract. It's a real thing.
It
But
is
like
what it is.
also might get a zombie apocalypse badge. We'll see.
Well, I think that, yeah. Yeah.
You got to just add them on. It's just getting your badges
Might
as you
get a
go.
zombie apocalypse badge. We'll see.
You would really. The only reason I say that Ashley might not want a zombie apocalypse badge is like her husband could probably just like poof her and her children to safety. So like she's probably not going to be down here in the trenches
Depends
with
on
us.
whether or not she's in the zombie apocalypse to
Right?
get
Exactly.
that.
She's not going to be here. She's going to be off surviving. She's going to be the person with the camera recording everything. It's going to be good. But no, so yeah, so I really appreciate your attempt at that. I just really wanted to talk about something light because I know next week we're potentially going to talk about some heavier stuff that's been going on. But nice little teaser there. My bad.
Ooh, yeah.
But
No, I think it's a kind of it's nice to know that it's a, somewhat of a universal experience that there are different types of mom, and I don't think that any of them are
they're not better than
like
each other. Like there's not
no.
like a ranking system. It's like you need all of them. And
And
for that
you're
matter,
going to change, and you're going to be a different mom friend in people's lives.
exactly.
Like
That's what I was
you're
gonna say.
going to
For that
be.
matter, you should ask yourself, are you showing up in different ways for other people? Because like I have mom friends who I know that I'm a zombie apocalypse friends, and I have other ones that like I'm probably definitely summer camp. Like we probably talk like every little while. Like I have
Yeah.
and then you have like to extend that, you have like just personhood friends. And like I really love as a mother and someone who is constantly surrounded by like motherhood and parenting because I also do it in my job. I love having very close friends. I have several very close friends who are not mothers, who are not parents, who are not married.
Oh,
And
well,
so
yes.
like that's
Having
just
friends
fun.
having friends with all different types of backgrounds is something that everyone like if you had one goal, like one life goal to really hit before, like say you want to hit it before 30 or before 40 if you're past that or whatever like that, it should be to have a wide range of friends, like wide in age, wide in occupation,
Please
wide
don't
in
say
what
that to
their
my
family
husband.
looks like what.
I said, please don't say that to my husband. My husband has a very distinct friend group and it's not changed in like 20 years. And like, that's his like badge of honor. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. We'll go with it.
Well, we can talk about how women are better than men, but I think that's a different
Oh, yeah.
podcast.
That's a different.
Women did
Da-da-da.
win more. Women did win like 65% of the Olympic medals for Team
I mean,
USA.
yes,
So,
as our
USA,
designated.
USA.
I mean, are you allowed to say that in Germany? Is someone going to come after you? Like, that seems dangerous. Good
I'm a
thing you closed
United
the
States
window.
citizen. Just show them a passport.
Um, did as our official designated Olympic correspondent, did you have fun at the Olympics before we go?
I did.
You did. Was it
Absolute
exciting or was it
amazing.
just hot?
It was less hot than it is here, actually.
Oh, good. Okay, good
And
to know.
I am going to use the adjective addictive because I have already started following accounts for the winter and the next summer Olympics and trying to figure out how I'm going to get tickets to
I know.
see more Olympic events.
I've already selected like 4 events that I think would be fun to take the kids to as they are going to be certain ages over the next couple of decades. But
Oh, yeah, I
unfortunately,
was looking at
breakdancing
that.
was one of them, and it has been dropped. It has been dropped from
Has
the
been
Olympic Games.
dropped. Well, the Winter
So that
Olympics
stinks.
are in Italy, in
Ooh, that's
Milan.
gonna be
And so I'm
fun.
like, I wonder if they need any volunteers. I wonder
Sign me
if
up.
there's any, yeah, because I could do, I got a good coat. I could do a Winter Olympics. Got this.
Okay, cool. I just,
Hockey.
yeah. Hockey, sign me up. I'm
Ski
very good
jumping.
at directing people to their
Figure
seats.
skating. I could, I have a place near me where I can do the curling. So I could
Oh, there you
practice.
go. You could
We have
practice.
a
Okay, well,
curling.
we'll
We
put you up for
I don't
the.
know where the closest German bowling alley is, but we have a curling range right down the street.
You know what? I think it's basically the same concept. It'll be fine. You can practice on both.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well,
Anyway,
you're a good mom, and I appreciate it. I think you kind of are. I don't know what section you would be in my life, so we're just gonna put you
contractually
with like
obligated, obviously.
But also zombie apocalypse, but also summer camp
If
because we
we're
don't
in
live in
the
the same
same
place.
place.
If we're
That's
in
the
the
thing
same
is,
place.
I don't know. There's a time where we would have been zombie apocalypse, but at the point right now, I don't think we can qualify as zombie
We
apocalypse
also
friends because
used
we
to
don't have
be
the proximity. We
we
could
also
be
used to be
virtual
on the
zombie
roster.
apocalypse.
We could be virtuals. Well, actually, we'll just stick you in the zombie apocalypse like option because my husband's a pilot. So we'll just swing by and get you. We'll see
Well, and it,
what continent's doing better.
who's winning?
Who's winning? And we'll just fly into that zone. Or,
uh,
find ourselves a
you're
boat somewhere.
you're a good mom.
Have so much fun. Good luck melting.
Thanks. Some people are
Some
worth
people are
melting
worth
for.
melting for.
Jeez.